Hello and welcome to the Creatively Challenged podcast, where we talk entertainment news and random topics we bring to this $34 card table. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Nolan, and we're here back at the $34 card table in Columbia, Missouri. Mike Stuglis, how's that feel?
I'll tell you what, Ryan, I'm upset. I'm upset because I had to move in yesterday and miss the Defenders, so that's why I'm upset.
I mean, I haven't watched it either, so we could probably watch it together.
I just really want to watch it.
It'll be good. It'll be good. Dan, have you watched the Defenders at all?
No, I was helping Mike move in.
And I was gone drinking booze at the pool.
When did I have time to watch it? No,
Okay.
It's not like we missed it. Like the entire season's on there. We've got time.
All right.
We're good. I don't know.
How are you doing though, Dan?
How am I? I don't know, Ryan. I'm okay. I was able to buy all my school books with my debit card. I didn't even have the student charge those son of bitches. I just paid for them. It only cost me like $60.
That's good.
How many books did you have?
Like 6, and they were all like American classic novels, like Jane Eyre, like Frankenstein, Dracula.
Those will actually be fun reads.
Yeah, it's for this class.
Before?
I've read. There was one of those 6 that I've read before.
Frankenstein?
No.
Dracula?
No.
Those are the only 2 I remember hearing.
There's more than Jane Eyre. It's by Dickens, I think. I can't think of it.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. We don't have to waste time
go
on
get your
this.
books?
No, I'm okay.
Ryan, how'd your book shopping go?
I got like 2 books. It was $300.
What did you return? What was that you didn't buy?
There was a German book that I was gonna get, and then I forgot that I have it still. They use the same book for both
that's what
classes.
Spanish was.
Yeah.
Spanish for a couple of years. Both Mike and I actually had the same book, and I remember when I was going back to shop for Spanish 2, it said it on there, and I'm just like, wait, that's the same fucking book I have. They almost conned me into buying the same book twice.
The Blanco edition, right?
Vistas.
Yeah. It was like Vistas Blanco. It's so stupid. And then they had a paper copy too. The
workbook. The workbook,
yeah,
which is basically like our homework, but like our online home. But we have an online homework. That's the thing. The big book came with like an online passcode, and it was basically like an online workbook. But they had the workbook there too.
Are you guys done with languages?
Yeah, I'd never have to do it again.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wish they
it's
sold
fantastic.
tacos instead of books.
The
racist?
bookstore?
No, it's
I mean,
not, dude. I wish like those little like taco stands. I remember I was working in this this mail factory in Chicago a couple summers ago, and there was this. I worked with a bunch of Mexican people, and there was like a taco.
Hispanic.
They were Mexican, okay? And here's the thing: like we were outside of the factory at lunchtime was this guy in his food truck. Amazing chicken tacos. Like I gave this guy a hug because of the chicken tacos, but then I went back to work and I hated my life. It was the way the factory was run was 3 8-hour shifts, and I worked the 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and it was terrible just driving to like Bedford Park every morning at like 6 and then getting there at like 7:30, clocking in. I tried to clock in early so I could leave early, and then my boss Kevin was like, yeah, Danny, you can't do that. So then I quit.
I can only imagine Kevin now that you talked like that.
Yeah, Kevin was a nice guy. I worked with my buddy Tyrone. You guys have met Tyrone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he hated it too, but it was good money for a couple weeks.
So, Ryan, what's on the docket?
Well, guys, our first story. There's been a new book released from Marvel Comics, and there's a bit of a story around it because there's this digital comic service called Comixology, and a lot of people, instead of going to the stores to get a bunch of comic books that they have to then store, will read the digital comics on their iPad. It's a lot easier. I personally do it myself.
You know, when I saw Wonder Woman 3 times and I bought my Wonder Woman tickets on the Fandango app, I got 3 different Wonder Woman comics, and I have a Comixology account with 3 different Wonder Woman comics.
Is it free? account?
Comixology.
Yeah.
The account is free, but the comic books on it are
Right.
not.
Yeah.
But I got those comics for free, but they said like, oh, buy the rest of the Wonder Woman books for like $10, and I didn't do it.
When you were talking about your Kindle, is that what you were talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
I read it on Kindle, and they actually have done this with other publishers. But what they do is they'll have Comixology originals, so it's much like the Netflix original, where a book is made specifically for this digital service, and it always has been the smaller time publishers. There's only a couple, like a handful of series on there, and then Marvel just made a big move in putting a new Iron Fist book in there. It's called The Immortal Iron Fists. It stars like a regular Iron Fist who's on the Netflix show, and then a high schooler named Pei, and together they kind of deal. He helps her with high school stuff, and then she helps him with Iron Fist stuff, and it's a cute little book, right? It's for the kids, and it's kind of a move by Marvel to maybe start doing more of these originals, and it's only on digital, and so maybe there's a move here that's going to be in the future we have only digital comics, and I was wondering what you guys kind of think of that, instead of like, because even with magazines this has been the issue.
You're
you know?
the biggest comic reader out of all of us, so I want your opinion of it.
Personally, I don't think there's a whole ton of controversy on here. I think print sales are still pretty big and will be here to stay for quite a while. I don't plan to read it, and if it's only available on one service, a lot of times that's going to keep people away from it. And it's also, usually on these originals, they're not very good. A lot of times there's smaller teams that aren't like well-known writers or artists, and it's not really something that you'd want to invest your money in. So personally, I don't plan to read it. I do get it for free because I pay like a special service, but I'm not too interested in it. But it is kind of strange because I don't want the print comics to go away.
Yeah, isn't this kind of going back to the print versus digital media? And you were so on the side of this would fall in that line, right?
Yeah, I mean,
because this would be something that, like, I know you sided with digital a lot of the time, but this is why print is a novelty.
Yeah,
I feel like, you know,
I like flipping through the pages of a comic book, and it's easier to appreciate the art in it, because when I'm reading it on a Kindle, it's not really as good of a scope. But I don't like having boxes and boxes of comic books, especially in college. And so I am in support of digital comics, but I think there should be both always, because people have different preferences.
When I read those Wonder Woman comics that I got, I kind of liked on the digital versions how when I would flip the page, like it'd zoom in on what I was supposed to read first, and then it'd go to like the next like box or whatever.
not all of them do that, though.
Yeah,
You can choose that.
Yeah, and I thought that was pretty cool, and and that was my first experience with Comixology, and I was tempted to buy like the entire Wonder Woman like set. I got the first of her Rebirth series for free, and I wanted to read more. So, like, I kind of like the digital comic book, but then also like, I mean, Mike's got the classics here in his room, like The Killing Joke, so like that. I like flipping the pages too. I mean, this goes back to our discussion last week, so I'm not going to get into why, physical versus digital is cool. You can go check out our last episode if you're interested.
Was it 2 episodes ago? Or was that last episode?
I think it was 2.
Was it 2?
Yeah.
Last one was Fears.
Yeah, it was
That
2.
was it.
It was 2 ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 episodes ago. You can go check out my opinion on that. But I like this. I think it's cool by Marvel to do that. Mm-hmm. I mean, just kind of making sure everybody gets the full experience and trying to adapt to the times is cool. But it's not like they're completely, diminishing the print. They just want to test the waters and see how readers will adapt to the digital comic book.
And they've had digital for years, but this is the first one that's only digital, and
Yeah.
it's kind of a strange move. But what's our next story?
So, acclaimed writer Aaron Sorkin, who's written movies like The Social Network and Moneyball, I'm pretty sure he
That's a good
also
movie.
did, is making his directorial debut with the movie Molly's Game, and it has gotten its first trailer. And Molly's Game is about an Olympic class skier who ran an I'll repeat it. A Olympic class skier who ran the world's most exclusive high-stakes poker game and became an FBI target. Her players included movie stars, business titans, and, unbeknownst to her, the Russian mob. The movie stars Idris Elba, Jessica Chastain, Kevin Costner, and Michael Cera. For Aaron Sorkin, this is a much anticipated directorial debut because Aaron Sorkin is up there with Tarantino in terms of writing dialogue. So, as a fellow Sorkin fan, Ryan, what did you think of this trailer?
It was a really badass trailer, and it had that sharp, interesting Aaron Sorkin dialogue that is sometimes unmatched. It looks like a cool movie. I just don't know that a lot of audiences will be totally interested in it. I mean, it's kind of just a gambling-based FBI movie, and that doesn't always pull in audiences. But I'm not saying that I'm not interested. I'm very much into it because I know Aaron Sorkin. I like a lot of the actors in it. But I don't know that it's going to be very, very popular.
Yeah, it's always tricky seeing a writer turn director too, because you really don't. They're two very different games.
He's directed a lot of his TV shows that he's done, and he does pretty good in that. But apparently, he's like really hard to work with because he needs everything exact, which is hard to work with.
I really enjoyed this trailer. Ryan and I saw it when we saw Logan Lucky the other night. I love Jessica Chastain. She's gorgeous, and she looked like 10 times better than she ever has in this trailer.
Seriously,
yeah. Idris Elba, he's got a dark tower on him. And then Michael Cera, is he playing Michael Cera in the movie?
That's what I was starting to think.
Because
right?
it said movie stars, and then it showed like TMZ footage of Michael Cera in the trailer. So I was thinking Michael Cera was playing Michael Cera, which is kind of funny. I don't know. Like, he's okay.
That's what he's reduced
to.
Now.
Actually, Seth Rogen the other night, he tweeted, it's been 10 years since Superbad came out, and he was like tweeting out like trivia about the movie.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, right?
I hope Michael Cera is the Russian mob boss.
I don't
That'd
think
be
he's
awesome.
Going.
I would hate
that.
Well,
I couldn't take him seriously as a mob boss.
Who knows? Maybe he's got some unlocked talent.
No, if Michael Richards was a mob boss, I'd believe that.
Oh, God.
Do you imagine like Kramer as a mob boss?
Not well.
No.
I just only see him as Kramer. You know, I couldn't see him in another role.
Yeah. That's not really a role. What if it was just his life?
I don't know. That's a lot to think about.
Like to get away from the Laugh Factory thing.
Oh, God.
I just hope this movie doesn't, and it maybe looked like it does it in the trailer, like become intense when it really doesn't have to. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. Like I don't want it to get off history with which Sorkin hasn't done before, so I kind of trust him. But
this is a true thing.
Yeah,
this actually
it's a
happened.
biography. It's a true story.
It said in big letters at the beginning of the trailer, based on a true story.
You know that I can't read.
Did you miss
Dan.
that? Oh,
And I
Don't
know,
bring that up on the
something
show.
like this seems like it can get carried away with itself. Like she's fleeing the mob because she's owes them. I just hope it doesn't fall into their stereotypes. But I think Sorkin's also too good of a writer.
Yeah.
And I thought it looked awesome for all the same reasons you guys did. So,
I don't think it'll be bad.
no,
Yeah.
absolutely not. I got the next one too, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Jessica
So-
Chastain.
Chastain.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
Way to objectify it.
We're starting the new season off low here.
All right. The Punisher Netflix series has finally got its first teaser trailer. And for those of you who don't know, the Punisher was given an origin story in season 2 of Daredevil, and he is played by John Bernthal, who will be reprising the role. And I know it was just a teaser, but what did you guys think? Dan, what did you think?
Trailer was awesome. I kind of got like a Christopher Nolan Batman feel about the trailer. Just kind of like looking back at those trailers. It seemed very dark, but it seemed like we're gonna get more of an origin story out of him, like more of a past type of thing, because he was talking about the past. We saw some scenes with like him and military guys, and we know that he used to be in the military, so I'm thinking we get more in depth with the character. And through the second season of Daredevil, you kind of get a taste for it, but to get fully inside of his head is going to be pretty cool. So I'm excited for this series. I want to check out the Defenders because I know he's going to make a cameo appearance.
He's supposed to.
Yeah, in some of the episodes. So we'll get through that. And when is this series planned to be out?
October and November.
Okay,
One of the two.
that'll be awesome. We'll be done with the Defenders by
Oh,
then,
yeah.
I'd like to think. So I'm excited for him. I wonder what type of fleshing out they're going to do with him if he's making a cameo appearance in the Defenders. But if this is going to go back to his past, maybe it doesn't make that big of a deal if he's in this Defenders season. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, this trailer was awesome. We got some pretty cool sledgehammer shots of John Bernthal just slamming a sledgehammer and yelling. Yeah, there's some yelling in there. Janet Yellen, our Secretary of Treasury or something like that. Whatever.
In what state?
Of all of the United States.
Yeah. See, again, I don't know how government works either. I can't read. I'm kind of just useless. I just eat the food and sleep here in this country.
Janet Yellen.
Well, that's great. Thanks for educating me.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day on the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, actually, every week.
She kind of looks like a bird person.
Like D?
Yeah. Yeah, like Sweet D. She kind of looks like a bird person.
Okay.
Yeah, look up a picture of Janet Yellen right now.
I can't right now.
Do it right now.
Ryan, instead of looking up a picture of Janet Yellen,
I'll do it. You start talking about it. I'll pull up the
I know you're not a
picture
big teaser guy.
of Janet
I'm not a
Yellen.
big teaser guy. You read that right. It was, in fact, a lot of sledgehammer, a lot of yelling.
Janet Yellen. Hold on.
I
I've got the picture up. Look at Janet
Oh,
Yellen.
Janet Yellen.
Yeah, doesn't she look like a bird person?
She doesn't strike me as much of a bird person. She
looks like she owns birds.
No, she's like a human hamster.
That last picture was terrifying.
I don't know. She looks like she owns birds. Like, oh, look at this one. She doesn't even have a chin in this one. Look at that.
Those at home, comment, subscribe, and write in if you think Janet Yellen is, in fact, a bird person or a hamster person.
Yeah, this is bad radio that I've got pictures up here and I'm just talking about them.
That's really great.
Doesn't she?
Call into our hotline at 1-800-PODCAST. That's us. You can call in live to the show, even though this is pre-recorded, and we will answer your questions on air. But
yeah, she's like the chair of the board of the Fed, the Federal Reserve.
Well, speaking of Janet Yellen, there was a lot of yelling in the trailer.
But not a lot of Janet Yellen.
Not a lot of Janet. I think it really. I'm glad there wasn't.
That trailer needed more Janet Yellen.
No, it did.
We should rate our trailers on a Yellen.
Enough with Janet.
on a Yellen
Enough with
scale.
Janet yelling.
It was just, it was light and didn't give a lot away of the series, which is how I think trailers should be. Especially like actual trailers. A lot of times in movies now we get the full thing in a trailer. We can see the whole plot. Things are revealed, like how Superman's alive in the Justice League trailer. Come on.
Yeah.
So hopefully they keep it that way in these trailers. But it was cool. I look forward to seeing the official trailers for it. But yeah, like it's gonna be a good series.
Were you a fan of Bernthal and Daredevil?
He was great. Yeah. Oh, it was awesome. I really like Daredevil. Haven't seen a lot of the Netflix shows. But
you saw that one?
Yeah, I saw that one. It was very, very good.
Okay. I'm with you guys. I mean, it was a good teaser.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see a lot of killing. A lot. We literally saw 2 kills in a 1-second blurb with him with a shotgun.
And it'll do you right on Netflix. They'll make it gross.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, so...
The hallway scene.
The hallway scene. But let me put this into perspective. So, one, Bernthal was a supporting character, so he only killed X amount. And oh god, that's loud.
There is construction going outside of our apartment building.
He only killed,
X.
He killed a good amount in Daredevil, but only a certain amount. But think of that hallway fight scene in Daredevil.
Yeah.
If it's the Punisher, all those guys are dead. That's what's funny. So his kill count by the end of season 1, I'm just curious to what it's going to be.
We should count ourselves.
We should. We really should.
Pretty good.
So, it was an awesome trailer, and this is probably my most anticipated Netflix show besides Stranger Things coming out. Even more so than watching The Defenders. I love Bernthal and Daredevil. So, Danny.
Yeah.
What's next?
Well, what's next is a story that kind of pisses me off. Here's the thing. It involves one of my favorite books that I read in high school English class. The Picture of Dorian Gray, Oscar Wilde's classic book. That has a lot to do about the human spirit and very early on with homosexuality and feminism. And there's a lot of, like, for the time, was weird things to talk about.
Very progressive.
Yeah, very progressive book. I love the book. But I know there's been movie adaptations for it before. I've actually never seen them, but I enjoyed the book so much that I read it after class too, and I really enjoyed it. But now we're going to get a modern adaptation. But it was just announced that St. Vincent, who is like a musician lady person who's done scores and original songs for, like, the most recently kind of like the the Twilight Saga, is going to direct a female version of Oscar Wilde's classic. What I'm kind of pissed about is that the book already kind of goes into issues with homosexuality and feminism and stuff like that. So I'm kind of questioning the decision to make the lead a female.
Well, they changed the name too, probably. Right?
Well, it's the working title right now is called The Portrait of Dorian Gray. But are they just going to make Dorian Gray a female? Like, it doesn't
that
make
name
sense.
Would probably work.
Sure,
right?
it would.
It is androgynous.
I kind of don't like it because the way the book is that Dorian Gray is a piece of shit. He's a selfish human being who kind of dabbles in homosexuality and dabbles in like downgrading women and stuff like that because he's so obsessed with his own looks that he downgrades women's looks, he downgrades other men's looks and everything like that. And he stores his feelings and his emotions and like his kindness and his love in a portrait so that he can keep his young good looks. And it has a lot to do with the human spirit and feminism and homosexuality and everything like that. And I'm surprised that it's going to change because in 2017, Dorian Gray was a book in the 1890s that is a very like 2017 book already.
Yeah.
With everything.
It's still read in classes.
Yeah. So like I'm surprised at the change. I'm curious as to what they're going to do, but I'm a little upset because honestly, the story itself is already a good enough story in modern times. I want more people to know about it, but if this is going to be people's first taste of Dorian Gray, they're going to get like a different vibe from it. I wish that a movie could be made with the original adaptation. Not that I'm against like a female lead or anything like that. I'm just saying that the original story itself already brought up these issues. And you guys have never read the book, but I want to hear what you guys think about it. But me having read the book, I'm a little bit more attached to it. I'm a little bit more upset.
In the title of the movie, they changed one word.
Yeah. So
that really doesn't tell me if they're going to be changing a lot of it, if they just take the story and add a female. The question is Dorian Gray almost like, a gender neutral character? Like, can he be played by a male or female if you replace all the supporting characters? He's definitely
a male, but since he kind of dabbles in homosexuality, I guess there are some certain features where he could be looked at as a female, but he's definitely a guy. Well, because he does have a section where he likes another man and stuff like that, and he's very homosexual,
but that
and just switch it with another female.
And it's another girl she's attracted to.
Yeah.
So that's my kind of is it a story that can just be transferred over easily to playing, and they just tell it in a female way instead of a male way? I would see that, but I'm not for them just changing the story just to be like, make
it more
like fucking
2017 than it already is.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's kind of all I have. Those are my questions. I don't know much about it.
Well, if it seems like the philosophy of the book was working toward more feminism things, and if they switch the role into a female, I don't know that would help feminism. It would, if anything, undo what that book did, if I'm thinking about it correctly, right?
Yeah.
And so it does make me question if maybe Mike was onto something there with it is like a gender neutral character or something, but this is the first time this St. Vincent person, who I've never heard of, is directing a movie. So, this is already kind of controversial from the start, and I just don't know that it will be a good movie, especially since it's going way farther than the source material, which is great source material to build on. If you're completely flipping it upside down, I don't know about the future of this project.
Yep.
I might still have my Dorian Gray book. I might want to reread it now.
Could help.
Yeah. Just get back into it. and then be one of the guys
you
in the
some
theater that goes, "Oh, that's not in the book." I hate being one of those guys, but
You were that for all the Harry Potters.
well, with the Harry Potters is different. That's like,
It's not different. It's
it's
the same thing.
it's different. It's different. It's different.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
All right. Rye Guy.
Oh, I got a story. I got a story now.
Got?
How about that? I see now. The Lion King director and producers say that Mufasa and Scar weren't actually brothers, and apparently there's a lot of Twitter controversy. Now, I don't have a Twitter, and this story was put into our little docket here by Dan Stewart.
Yeah.
What's happening on Twitter?
Well, there was a whole Twitter moment about it, and I scrolled through tweets. There were like tens of thousands of tweets about this. People saying their childhood was ruined, like why the hell was, like Simba was running around calling Scar like Uncle Scar and everything like that at the beginning of the movie. And I was a little pissed off because like it almost like kind of like hurts the story, and because that's how Hamlet was, and the Lion King is basically just Hamlet but with lions. And the thing is like the way they explained it was that in an actual like lion pack, like over in Africa, like there's a lion who's the head of the pack and he's the king or whatever, and he leads the pack, and then there's another another male lion who kind of hides in the shadows and kind of like sniffs the king's ass and everything like that. And when the king gets old, that lion kills the other.
That actually happens?
This actually happens in the wild, yes. Cool. And that lion who hides in the shadows kills the king so that he can be king. And then since they're like lion brethren, like they basically like are like brothers. And I guess that's how Mufasa and Scar were in The Lion King.
I think that's pretty cool, actually.
I mean, it's cool in the wild, but I kind of don't like how 23 years after this movie was made, this guy's opening his mouth. I can't believe Disney's even letting this guy open his mouth.
Well, what's great
about that Scar and Mufasa aren't even brothers.
Well, what's great is they don't specify it, so it's for the viewer to kind of decide.
Yeah, but when the director says it, kind of...
But at the end of the day, like an artist can make a painting and say this is about this, but a person can go into a museum and say I feel this way about it. So are movies. They're art. Obviously, a Disney movie kind of farther than an art film, but I mean it's still up to us to decide things. And if a character in the movie calls another character an uncle, we can decide for ourselves that this is it. Obviously, the Twitter gets into an echo chamber and everyone wants to revel in their nostalgia. But at the end of the day, it's up to us, isn't it? And we can't let a few people decide for us like how the movie said it was.
Well, that's kind of like Matt Weiner, who wrote Mad Men. The ending, he hit the table. Who wrote Mad Men. The ending, I won't spoil it, but something happens in the end, and they interviewed him, and he said, this is what happens, but you can also... I also left it ambiguous intentionally for the viewer to kind of make their own ending,
and that's
too.
perfect.
That's perfect, yeah. Yeah, and that's that's what I feel like is the case here. Just because the director has an opinion doesn't mean it can influence yours. Unless it's explicitly said, it's not fact.
Well, that's like Christopher Nolan. He's been asked now for 5 years about the ending of The Dark Knight Rises. And he says, make it yourself. But then Christian Bale in an interview says, yes, Batman made it out. Like, he's alive. Like Christian Bale said that. So I'd like to go with Christian Bale because Batman's alive at the end, Like, it's whatever. It's all good. I like it. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like this falls into the same realm.
I guess that's all right. But in my opinion, here we go, because now it has to be opinionated. It's not just fact.
Sure.
Scar and Mufasa are brothers, right? Can we...
I mean, I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, I would too. I think the other theory's cool, but like, they're brothers.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons did a great job as Scar.
He killed Mufasa.
I killed Mufasa.
Oh, he also didn't have a quote to start off the...
What's the quote? Do you have anything for that movie? Do you remember?
No. I don't know.
That's a quote from Logan Lucky. Logan Lucky is what we'll be reviewing later on in the show after this last news topic. What's our last news topic?
All right, so
Danielson's got it.
Huge rumblings around the entire world, around the entire galaxy from far, far away. So, it's always been rumored before, But now it's like, basically an official rumor, a big official rumor, and it's crazy. So, Stephen Daldry, he's directed Extremely Loud and Incredibly 9/11. He's directed Billy Idol, both versions, I guess.
Is Billy Idol like a concert film or is it like a biopic?
The first movie was like, it came out in 2001, and that was just like basically like a movie version of the play. And then 2014's version was like a live play.
There's a Billy Idol play?
Yeah.
Like White Wedding Billy Idol.
Not Billy Idol. What am I thinking of?
Who are you talking about? Did you get the name right on it? Because you've been saying Billy Idol
I'm
week.
definitely wrong about it. I'm not thinking of Billy Idol. It's definitely not Billy Idol.
Well, to put it into perspective, Stephen Daldry has been nominated for 3 Academy Awards for directing. So he's
Billy Elliot.
He can direct.
That's what I mean.
Oh,
Billy
Jesus.
Elliot.
Yeah, I know Billy
I'm
Elliot.
Stupid.
Billy Idol.
Billy Idol. I was thinking of Billy Idol. Sorry.
I didn't know Billy Idol had a play.
Yeah, no. Billy Idol does have a play. It's called The White Wedding.
Okay.
The Red Wedding. Purple Wedding.
Okay.
Okay.
And what's...
All right, so what he's rumored to direct, the Obi-Wan Kenobi, standalone film, the next Star Wars standalone film, which is what fans have wanted ever since Disney announced that they're going to be doing these Star Wars anthology films. Now, the biggest want, of course, is to have Ewan McGregor, who played Obi-Wan in the prequel trilogy, to come back and play Ben Kenobi, which is basically going to happen. Like, if you don't get him, then fuck this movie, kind of.
Yeah.
But to have Stephen Daldry, who's done some great work, I think this is good. But his movies, he's done a lot of emotional, like, close to the heart films. So I wonder... This story of Obi-Wan has to be in between episode 3 and 4. I think that's kind of like the only area you can tell.
Especially with Ewan's age.
Yeah. So, I wonder what type of heartfelt type of things. You have Obi-Wan now changed into Ben Kenobi after the whole Darth Vader Anakin thing, and he's watching over Luke grow up while living in the desert on Tatooine. I wonder what... Maybe it'll be a movie about, like, psychological things, because, he's out there studying Jedi work.
Having, like, PTSD.
Yeah,
from
kind
the
of.
Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I don't think we'd get that out of Disney.
Probably not.
I don't think that we're ever going to have something like that of that caliber from Disney. I think, if anything, it's going to... And I would want it to be when he's living in exile between those movies, but I think it's probably going to be a lot more of a general action film. It could definitely take place during then, but I don't think we're gonna get anything too serious out of him.
Think of the character of Obi-Wan at this point. Whether it's Disney or not, you have to please the Star Wars fans, and that's what they did with Rogue One.
Yeah,
I know they toned back on the Vader scene a little bit, but that was still hung.
But that's still like the rest of the movie was Star Wars entertainment. Maybe I'm picturing what you're pitching a little bit wrong. Like it would just be like a dramatic thing of
I'm not thinking of it like as a Shawshank Redemption version of Obi-Wan
I had it very
Kenobi.
wrong.
No,
okay.
Like it, but the way Obi-Wan is, the transition from Revenge of the Sith to A New Hope, he goes from being like a young Jedi Master to like the greatest Jedi Master ever, like the wise Obi-Wan Kenobi. So in between those years, there's a lot of aging and a lot of learning that Obi-Wan has to do. So it's going to be kind of have to be like a secluded film.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what the character turns into.
If Ewan's not in this movie, I don't want to see it. One, I'd rather see them explore a different storyline, but we're probably not going to get that because they're probably going to keep playing it pretty close to the chest because they know what they can make money on.
Yeah.
But that's the hardcore side of me because I want to see something like the Old Republic, but they're probably not going to do that. But so, anyway, if this is what they're doing, I'll see it. And if they get this really acclaimed director in Stephen Daldry, all the better. But if Ewan's not in it, I don't know. I'm out because that's the only one I really want to see. And I'm kind of borderline with this movie to begin with because I like the idea of not specifically knowing everything that happened in between 3 and 4. I don't think all the gaps of the characters need to be filled in.
Yeah. On the track it's on, though, it seems like they are filling the gaps of what's happened and answering questions with everyone. So A lot to expect out of this movie.
Well, yeah, it's like they're doing the Han Solo movie and they're exploring him before. And then they're thinking about doing a Boba Fett movie and they're going to explain what he was like. It's like, I like some of these, some of it's laying mysterious with these characters. I like seeing them just in the situations they were put in. I don't need to see their entire lifespan.
Yeah.
With Obi-Wan, though, and since there is continuity involved in between episode 3 and 4, considering they were made 25 years after each other, or in between, obviously the original Star Wars being episode 4 and episode 3 being the most recent before episode 7, I'd kind of like to see Ewan McGregor be an older Obi-Wan and then have CGI on his face to make him kind of turn into Alec Guinness. Fuck, why did that blank my mind? I'd like to see that. I know there's supposed to be a mystery about him, but with the prequel trilogy, we already got way more into Obi-Wan than we ever had before. So just to add more to that, to give Ewan McGregor his time, because he definitely was the best part about the prequel trilogy, to give him the time he deserves, I think it's a great idea, and I love it. And if they can get in the psychological things with it, to get into how he kind of turned into Alec Guinness and turned into the old wise Obi-Wan, and him studying, and with that scene at the end of Revenge of the Sith where he finds out that Qui-Gon discovered the Force ghost people, maybe this is Obi-Wan studying that.
Could be.
Who knows?
So there's a lot that can go on. I love this idea, and this is what Star Wars fans have wanted since they announced all of these big plans. So I'm excited about this.
Yeah. That's it on the news, right?
Yeah. And with that, let's go on to our next thing, because we saw a movie this week. We saw Logan Lucky, directed by Steven Soderbergh. It stars Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, and Daniel Craig. Two brothers attempt to pull off a heist during a NASCAR race in North Carolina. That is a very simple synopsis there.
Is that basically what happens?
There's a little bit more to it. There's a little bit more nuance to why they're doing it, obviously. But I think it's good that they didn't say that, because it's good to watch it as the movie goes in. But Dan, what's your positives for this?
Well, I loved this movie, and I was kind of surprised by it as well. As time went on and reviews came out, people seemed to love it, but critics didn't for some reason. Some critics did, some didn't. IMDb has it at a very low score, but Rotten Tomatoes doesn't. So I was hesitant. I was just like, wow, is this movie not as good as I thought it looked? And I went into the theater and I really enjoyed it. I loved the characters. Daniel Craig was kind of unrecognizable. He was really good, but the whole cast worked. They all kind of bought into what they were supposed to be. Channing Tatum, Adam Driver doing Southern accents were hilarious. There were just some very funny situations and awkward pauses in conversation. Great original characters. I liked the story. I liked the heist. It was really a well put together movie. I thought the writing, the directing, everything was really good. And overall, it was a great original film. It was a great idea, and I really enjoyed this film. And there's not too many negatives about it, but I'll get into that after your positives.
This was obviously there's a big heist in this movie, and the movie was really tight around that. It was a really cool heist to witness, and you're always guessing how are they going to do this next? Oh, there's suspense. How are they going to get around that? I really loved it, and seeing the fun characters that were established react to these things, it was a really good time. And sometimes it actually had a lot of quirky sort of humor to it, and a lot of times it would just be a quiet, awkward scene, and we would just be giggling in the theater about it. It's a really good movie, and I think compared to Steven Soderbergh's other movies, he's done Magic Mike, the Ocean's movies. This was really good, and I think it's up to par with Ocean's 11 and Magic Mike, which, by the way, if you haven't seen Magic Mike, pretty good movie, and it's not just about sexy guys. It's a good movie.
I've actually heard, I don't know about the second one, but a number of people have told me that Magic Mike's like not a bad movie.
No, I liked it a lot.
I haven't seen the second one because I heard the second one was garbage.
It
but
is.
The first one, the first one was really good.
Really?
I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a good movie.
Now, here's something about this movie that I didn't know until I was watching more reviews, but this movie said it's written by Rebecca Blunt. And if you go and look up this person, they have no other writing credits, and people are saying it's just Steven Soderbergh using a fake name, and he wrote the movie and directed it. Because this movie, with the way things are kind of set up early in the like factors that go into the heist are set up very, very early in the movie. He plants the seeds of things that will go wrong or things that will go right. And if you're not paying attention, if you are paying attention, you'll see them pay off later. And that's the same thing that happened in all the Ocean's movies with their heists. And so it kind of shows, if you have an eye for it, that Soderbergh probably wrote this movie. Other than that, though, yeah, it was a good time. It was a good heist, and there were good laughs along the way and good characters.
Is it completely original, or is it very much like the Ocean's movie?
It's not like the Ocean's movies,
At
and
all.
I'll explain why in my negatives.
It's just a different way he's doing his own heist movie.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Going in the negatives. All right. Negatives for this film, I guess I have one, but it branches off into others. So the third act of this film, the final act, is kind of way too long for its own good. They introduce Hilary Swank within the last half hour of this movie as an FBI agent, and she just does fucking nothing for the plot whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Like, the last act of the film is way too long and unnecessary. Like, I won't get into spoilers for it, but the FBI gets involved with, investigating the heist and everything like that, and it's very, very just unnecessary. It's kind of lame and elongates the final act into something that shouldn't have been elongated, and it kind of stretches out the film. I'm glad the rest of the film was good enough so that I could enjoy kind of the last act and pull still the positives out of it, but sitting in the theater, I was kind of going like, all right, so what's going to happen here? Like, is there really a half an hour left in this movie? It should kind of be over at this point. I feel like it should have been, you guys have seen Tower Heist. Have you ever seen Tower Heist?
Yeah.
So at the end of that movie, I'd say the end of this movie, or the way the heist goes down, is very similar to Tower Heist, but Tower Heist ends like within 5 minutes of the final heist. This should have been like that. There's like an extra 20, 30 minutes after the heist that shouldn't have been.
So instead of about like 2 hours, it should have been about like an hour and a half. It'd have been a really tight hour and a half.
Yeah, I'd say so. Because like before, like the end of the movie is very elongated unnecessarily. And like Hilary Swank, who's kind of like a big actress, is just should have been way more minimal than she was.
Or a different actress probably could have played her for how minimal.
Yep.
Ryan?
Well, going into what Dan said, absolutely. It served, the third act was very much like an elongated epilogue and it really deloaded the packed punch that you got after they committed the heist, and you were just like loaded, and you were thinking, wow, they actually got away with that. Well, wow, I shouldn't have said that. That's a spoiler. Okay, it's a heist movie. Usually they get away with it in heist movies, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least with the initial part.
I'm going to stop dwelling on that. And so it takes away the punch of the heist where your heart is racing. You're like, oh my God, that was awesome. There were so many cool things that happened. And I still have said this movie was a good time, and I would recommend seeing it if you are going to the movies. But that third act was it kind of took away from how much I liked it. Definitely, like I was definitely going for 4 out of 5 gold booms until that third act there.
Act,
yeah. And Mike was asking me earlier if it is near like how great Ocean's 11 is, and I would say it's not, because while the characters are fun, at no point does it really make you compelled to care about them. Whereas in Ocean's 11, there was a lot more tension with George Clooney, his wife, and the casino owner. There was a lot more tension in the heist because you were committed and you wanted George Clooney to get away with it, to fuck up that casino owner. And this movie didn't really have stakes like that. And there were parts that were supposed to be really emotionally gripping in this movie that are established with Channing Tatum's character that never paid off because the movie didn't spend a lot of time developing the characters. It spent a lot of time setting seeds for later parts in the heist.
What I've found is what separates a decent heist or bank robbery movie from the great ones is the epilogue, because most of them have them. It doesn't just the heist and then it ends. And there's only a few that come to mind, you know, like The Town and Heat. They have great epilogues, and that's what makes them fantastic. And I feel like that's what kind of makes movies like this just kind of part of more enjoyable than memorable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that this movie won't be memorable. I haven't seen it, but the way you guys are describing it seems to be how a lot of solid bank robbery movies end, as opposed to the ones that are like fantastic. Would you agree, Dan?
Well, the last heist movie I watched before this one was Spike Lee's Inside Man.
Yeah, and the epilogue for that was pretty weak too.
Yeah, it was. So, like, I like this movie overall better than Inside Man, but, like, I feel like, you know, I've seen two heist movies that kind of have a weaker final act, and that shouldn't be the case. Like I said, Tower Heist is, like, not obviously like a critically acclaimed film, but I enjoy that film because it's got a good ending, a really good heist ending. So, like, you know, I think the ending should have gone better. And another negative, I gotta say, I love Seth MacFarlane. I love everything he's done with Family Guy, but his fucking character was stupid. I
forgot about that part, yeah.
He was so stupid in the movie. Oh, man, unnecessary as well. But, like, other than that, good movie. I enjoyed it. But they made Katie Holmes look like 10 years younger in it. She looked fantastic. And then Riley Keough as Melly.
You'd hold her hand.
I'd hold her hand. I would.
It doesn't bolster my score, but I definitely considered that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was nice.
What are you guys scoring it?
I'm scoring this at a hard 3 out of 5 Goldblums.
I'm going to give it a 3.4 out of 5 Goldblums. Could have used more Goldblum, but not too much Goldblum.
It's better than good, but it's not great.
Yeah.
I do plan on seeing this movie because it's really anticipated. But Ragtag is now showing Wind River.
Oh,
I really want to go see that.
We got to see that for sure.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Olsen, right? And Jeremy Renner.
But transferring into our main topic here, Adam Driver, who you might know as Kylo Ren in the Star Wars movies, he plays a veteran who has a blown off hand or arm. His forearm's gone.
You can't say arm. He still has an arm, but not a hand.
And they make a point of saying that in the movie. But he's missing a part of his arm, right? And I wanted to ask you guys, if you had to give up an appendage, a limb, if you will, or maybe like lose a sense, something you could live without, what would you give up?
My left hand.
You're a right-handed writer, I'm assuming?
Yeah, writing. Probably because I like to walk, and you need your legs for exercise and stuff. I could still pick up food and feed myself and kind of do basic things with my right arm. I can throw a baseball, I can throw a football, I can hold a bat, shoot a basketball. I can do all of my smaller things I need to do in life, or like drive a car and stuff. With my left hand, I might as well be handicapped.
But here's the question: are you gonna wear a prosthetic hand, or are you gonna stump it proudly?
Wait, hold on. I got another question. You lose like an ear or something, right? That's not allowed.
I mean, I guess that would be a bullshit answer, but you
we're
can't
doing
say that.
But
right?
Van Gogh, well, no, it could be also like psychological as well. I'm gonna do something.
I mean, yeah, that would fuck you up if you lost an ear and everyone's like, "Oh God, look at that guy."
Look at Van Gogh over here. You go paint a painting,
I mean,
idiot, without your ear.
That would be the least
That's what you
harming
hear.
to you if you were
Yeah.
gonna have to lose something, I'd say. But if you had the hand, or you were missing the hand, would you stump it or would you wear a prosthetic?
Well, you
Just
have
for
to
looks.
you have to stump it to wear a prosthetic anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if you're out in public,
I-
you're wearing a short sleeve T-shirt. Are you wearing a prosthetic hand?
Can't I just have like a dead arm that doesn't work, that dangles? And I
It
gotta
just
be like-
dangles?
I gotta like pick it up. Like,
That'd be
people do that.
disgusting.
Yeah, people do that.
It'd be
That's a thing.
all the muscle would atrophy, and you just have a weird skinny arm.
I'd like to keep my arm even if it didn't
Okay.
work. A lot of people
Would you
have
just
that.
wear
My
like
grandfather has that. A guy who was like the I guess like adopted father or something, or whatever the term is. Stepdad. Adopted father.
Adopted.
Jesus. Stepdad of one of the kids. He had like like an arm that didn't work. So
Did
I've
he
seen.
just have a
It.
sling
I
all the
just lose
time, or
the
was
thing.
he like Gramps and had a wheelchair?
He just no. He walked and everything. He just walked with a limp arm, and his other one worked. So I'd probably just have like.
Did you ever accidentally try to shake his?
No.
Oh.
You saw it like how it was unmuscled.
Like,
but let's assume it's stumped. I wouldn't wear the prosthetic. I feel like that kind of freaks people out.
Yeah, it's almost worse than the stump, I'd say.
Yeah.
And then you could still use the stump for things, like if you got your friends over for the football game and you're making guacamole, you could use that to mash it up and stir it. That'd be a great tool. Why use spoons when you got a nice hard stump?
No, but like what? No, but if you got the prosthetic, like they make prosthetics where you can like attach like whisks and shit onto it.
Could it be an electric mixer?
I don't know.
I'd like to invent that for disabled people.
So left arm is what I'm going with
Okay.
for writing
The
purposes.
hand or the arm?
Hand, sure.
Okay.
We'll do hand.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you still have like no, you'd have like 6/7
almost
of
my
your
whole.
arm.
Yeah.
What about you, Dan?
What about me? I'm gonna get very psychological here. I'm gonna go very Dorian Gray with this. If I could live on without something, I'd live on without pain.
That's not
We're talking appendage.
No,
Yeah.
that's stupid. Come on, why can't I do what I want?
Well, that wasn't the question.
No,
it was limbs,
that's different.
appendage, physical things.
No, it's not. We
senses.
talked about this before the show. I asked if I could do that.
I thought you meant senses.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought.
Well, that's a sense, kind of.
Pain? Well, I mean,
That's
there's
the sense of
there's
feel as a
5
whole.
senses. That's an emotion.
So basically, the question is, would you cripple yourself? How would
Actually,
you
no.
cripple
Pain is a
yourself?
sense. He's kind of right on. That's touch. That is involved with touch.
So like, I'd still like. Here's the fucked up thing about it is like I could jump off a building, break my legs, and my legs are broken, but I just couldn't feel it,
Okay, that's
which is
a
pretty
good point.
fucked up. Yeah.
Pain is very important though. Like if something's wrong with you, pain is it's often there to remind
Well,
you have there's
if you're
something
walking
wrong.
down the beach and you step on glass, you don't feel it.
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
Then you could just have a piece of glass.
But and that's the thing. I just have to be wary of my surroundings. But like, I wish I could just like live on happy and not have to feel like pain ever.
Now this is an emotional pain. This is physical pain.
It's both. Yeah. I wouldn't want that. Like, I wish I could go on without it. It's such a shitty feeling.
I don't know how life would if you couldn't feel emotional pain. I don't know if like would that be like a weird kind of ironic like you don't go through life the same.
Wouldn't that kind of make you almost like sociopathic?
I don't maybe
Well, no,
that's
'cause
that's
you'd
what I was
be-
alluding
It's not
to.
like I'd be happy at like a funeral, but like I just wouldn't feel the pain of sadness, I guess.
Yeah. Well, something they and this sounds like some bullshit Christmas special, but like pain and sadness is like
Pain
there
is
to
not-
remind us about the good times, right?
Pain is necessary, but I don't want it.
All right.
It's not like I can lose my sense of pain.
If we're going in pain in the touch realm, I think that's an important thing to
Like, it'd be kind of cool to like take some cookies out of the oven and not like have to go like, ah, fuck.
Well, your hand's gonna be fucked up then.
Yeah.
I
Nah.
think you would die. I think a lot easier than all of us if you didn't have pain, because there would be so many things wrong with you that you wouldn't even know about. You'd have to get checkups frequently to make sure your body's not messed up. Like if you had a back problem that could end up with like a pinched nerve and lead to other things, like you wouldn't know.
Yeah, but it'd be great to like work out and squat without feeling the pain in my back and knees.
But you would also, because you can't feel pain, you might end up doing something wrong and then fuck you up even more.
I know how to squat. Believe me.
All right.
I know how to squat.
All right.
I just like my body hates me for doing it because my knees and my back hurt.
Fair enough.
So if I could just do the squats without that, like it's not like I'm impending like being paralyzed or impending like impending knee surgery is there, but like, you know, not being able to feel it, like I can still walk, it just fucking hurts. Like I wish I could squat and not have it hurts.
I think if I had to get rid of something, I'd get rid of my head.
Would you carry around a pumpkin?
Wait.
I was just kidding. That's not my answer.
Which head?
Okay.
Well,
No.
that solves another problem.
Let's not get into it.
I don't know what that means at all.
You know what problem it solves?
You tell me later.
You wouldn't have to get a vasectomy then because it couldn't come out.
They cut a different thing in the vasectomy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
They cut.
I know
like,
they cut
vas
they cut the
deferens.
tubing, but without the head, it has nothing to come out, so it just wouldn't.
Fair enough. Peeing would be hard too if you don't.
Well, you couldn't
Let's
pee.
steer
Let's
away
just
from this.
say that like the pee
Again.
evaporates in the body. Or
I'm
something.
steering away from this.
Okay. Well, you brought it up.
Initially, I thought
Mike brought it up.
I thought that I would say lose one of my eyes because it'd look cool to have an eye patch. But then I thought about when I saw a guy with an eye patch at the restaurant that I work at, and it wasn't as cool as I thought, but it was kind of cool. But still,
No, it's creepy. Is what
it,
it
yeah,
is.
that's what. Like at first, I was like, "Whoa!" But then I'm like, "Oh God, I don't know. I wouldn't hang out with
Can you
him."
imagine the hell he goes through? People are like, oh, look at that creep with his eye
Yeah.
patch.
If I like lived in the Caribbean and like just did boat charters, I'd be fine with having no eye. But I don't live that life.
goes on down
if, if I ran away from it all,
Dressed just like fucking Jack
Yeah.
Sparrow, and you're walking.
Oh, yeah, it'd
around,
be a great time.
Like, they'd be like, "Who the fuck is
Yeah.
this guy?"
I always fantasize I just run away to the Caribbean and do boat charters. But I think, oh boy, I think I'd have to go also with Mike and just lose the hand there. I think that's the least detrimental because walking around is important. I don't want to be in a wheelchair because I like to walk around and hike and stuff. But here's the problem. Here's the inherent problem. I use my hands for different things. I write with my left. But here's the thing. My wiping hand is my right hand, and I can't relearn on the left
Yeah,
one.
you can.
I could try.
No.
You could.
It's hell. It's a living hell, is what it is.
Hey, you have a bidet. You don't need it.
Yeah, I know, but you got to
yeah,
dry
but
off.
you have to dry off.
My dad had soldier surgery. He had a soldier in the house, and he got him a surgery.
Good.
No, he had a shoulder
Support
surgery.
Support the troops.
And he had to wipe with the other hand, but what he did is got one of those, those paint rollers that are foam, and it's got like the handle and then the foamy roller on top, and you use that on your walls. He got a mini one of those, wrapped toilet paper around that, and then like brought it down there. And he said it was like the best wiping experience ever. I don't know if he still does it now that his shoulder's okay, but like somehow it gets in there just right.
How does that work?
I don't know. I still
I'm
don't really
curious
understand
because
even
I
after
feel like
he
you're
explained
just
it.
rolling your shit down there.
Onto your
Well, you're
butthole.
you're not painting your ass.
No, but how do you do it then? What's going on?
It just gets in there, right? I don't know.
We talk about buttholes way too much.
Yeah, we went. I think we went 1 week without talking about poop, and here we are again on our movie podcast.
Well, it's a very interesting topic because everybody does it. Everybody can relate, except for chicks. Chicks don't poop.
I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
I
think it just like it goes away.
if you if you were gonna have, would you rather have both legs taken or just one?
Both. No, I'd like one.
Just one. It's fine.
I feel like I could play basketball still with one.
I could wear a peg leg with the other.
Yeah.
And then you go into the Caribbean
And
on
then
boat
you lose
Yeah,
charters.
an
that's
eye.
right.
That's
Yeah.
what you do.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go full pirate if I were doing my runaway fantasy. Yeah, I'd probably get a lot more customers if they're like, this guy actually looks like a pirate.
Sell illegal DVDs.
I'll just sell them like in downtown Columbia here.
Yeah. The one episode of Grey's Anatomy I've ever seen was this girl who actually like couldn't feel pain.
Yeah.
She got hit with a baseball bat because she bet this boy in her grade that she wouldn't like cry or scream if she got hit with a baseball bat. So he did it. He hit her with the baseball bat. She couldn't feel it. But then she had internal bleeding and almost died.
Jesus
She had like
Christ.
broken ribs and stuff. Yeah, it was messed up. So it'd be kind of cool, like, to get into a bar fight if you couldn't feel pain. Just like this guy is like so shocked that like he's not hurting you, and you can just beat the fuck out of him or something.
I just can't get on board with that one though. Just like the fact that it would just be so hard to live without pain. Like we got it for a reason, to alert us for things.
I got stung by a bee the other day for the first time ever, and that sucked. I hated that. So it'd be cool to not feel that.
Just the sting.
Yeah, just a sting.
All right. Well, what are we reviewing next week?
What comes
Well,
up next week?
Hold on, we got time.
Yeah, we got
I'm
time.
excited already for 2 weeks from now to see it.
Is that in 2
Or
weeks?
3 weeks.
I think
Something
it's
like
3.
that.
I have to go to a wedding that weekend.
So, are you bringing your stuff with you?
I might not, no, because on the wedding's on Saturday, and like Sunday I'm taking a train, and
So, there seems to be nothing that would interest us.
Oh,
we could go see the Hitman's Bodyguard next
We
week.
could do that or see Wind River, whatever we want to do.
Let's do Wind River.
I really wanna see that movie.
at Ragtag.
all right. It's a lesser known movie. I don't even think that had a very wide
It
theatrical
just
release.
got one.
Okay.
It had its limited, and then I think it's wide. Like we live in Mokina. I think Marcus just got it.
Okay.
So it's around.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's in 3. Yeah, we're seeing Wind River next week. And we can, if we decide to see Hitman's Bodyguard, we can do that too.
I kind of want to see both, but I don't know which we'd review. That's a later discussion.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts? Any closing thoughts?
It's great to be back. Made conversation.
We finally.
Yeah,
this
that
is the
was so
first
easy.
time I've drank during a podcast in a while, because we're all back, and I don't have to worry about the responsibilities of the day.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier now that we're in person again. It was very hard over the internet
Google,
to jump in when you two
Google
were in person.
Hangouts and
Yeah.
fucking WAV files and MP3 files getting fucked over email just randomly over the
Boko Haram.
like in the
Al-Qaeda,
mid like we were
ISIS.
yeah.
They're probably worse than any problems we had with
No,
producing.
want to know what's the worst thing ever?
What, Dan?
Like worse than cancer, like worse than
Disappointing
Parkinson's.
poops.
No, it's when your legs fall asleep while you're pooping.
I have.
Jesus
Oh
Christ.
my god! You've never
I've had my
that?
feet. My feet fall
Yeah, it's
asleep.
the worst. It sucks.
Yeah.
All right, but other than that, I love the listeners. Keep coming back. Listen to the podcast. Help us out. Subscribe and all that junk. But Ryan's got the rest of that. If Mike doesn't have anything other to say,
No, just nonsense.
cool.
All right, and that is this week's podcast. Remember that each and every Monday morning we upload to YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. We've got links for those on our Facebook page and our Twitter page, which will also be in the description. And as always, thank you for listening.
What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us.